Actresses are always on like stage, you know? They're always having to worry about what they look like, what they act, how they act, even though it's their character. But so much emphasis is placed on their image that it's hard. It's definitely a problem. A lot of times there's measurements like right before a show starts, so everyone has to get measured, and there's always like them wanting to compare themselves to what they used to be. So they're like, oh, were the measurements the same as last time? And women tend to care more about than guys. The guys are just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Or like, can't you just use my measurements from last time? And the girls are usually just a little self-conscious, and going into it, they like try to use humor and being like, oh, I'm so fat, or oh gosh, I'm getting weight, or oh, you have to forgive me. Like, you know, it's like we need to apologize for this, which I don't, it's just sad how that's the case.
Working in the costume design department of the Playhouse Theater and serving as a peer mentor for the Body Project has given Lizzy Hernandez a unique perspective on the self-image of women.
Usually when I wake up, the first thing I do is snooze, but then the second time it rings. I usually scroll through Instagram. There's a lot of social comparison within, especially in females. There's just this idea of being skinny and how that means good. And I think that has been really twisted recently, just because really the focus is not health, even though it kind of seems like that is when it's like health, but really it's like inspiration. It's not about being healthy. Nobody is like goes on a diet to be healthy. They go on a diet because they want to lose weight. I think one of the most annoying things is just sizing. Like, sizes aren't really made for, even though the average weight of, I don't know the exact amount, but the average weight of a woman is a lot heavier than who the clothes are made for. So you start at a level which so many little people are in, like 0, and you move up, and the average I think size is like 12 or 14. So why is that like such a high number? And then obviously there's gonna be this average, so people are gonna vary, and somehow the people that weigh more like just don't get to have more options, because you see the mannequin and they're always wearing small. They're never wearing medium, or they're not even wearing medium. They're not wearing large. And then you put it on, you're like, this is not made for me. And a lot of times, like, the clothes aren't made, like, sometimes they look even distorted because the proportions aren't right. They don't really take that into account. And then every size varies by brand, which is even more annoying and more frustrating, especially if you already feel like unsatisfied with your body. They're not, which I understand, you can't like tailor-made everything, that's way more expensive, but there's still like a standard that we live by, which is kind of annoying, just puts pressure on you to fit that. In middle school, I remember everyone was starting to wear makeup, and in high school, and I felt the need to always do it. And the thing is, once I wear makeup, I feel like I need to keep it up because I'm like, oh, they already saw me like this. I don't want them looking at me the next day and be like, oh, what's wrong? What happened? Did you not get enough sleep? And you're like, I just look like this. This is just my face. Everyone has some level of body satisfaction, whether it be about your facial features, your body, your shape, your size. So I am in Dr. Bloomquist's body and weight seminar, and part of that we get trained for the Body Project, and basically it's this empirically based prevention program. The way eating disorders work is usually there's this mechanism that occurs that there's body dissatisfaction, which is basically like the insecurities that everyone experiences, and that's normal, but then when there's this thin ideal that the society creates. So whenever you internalize the thin ideal, meaning you accept as thin as good and perfect and the ultimate goal to be happy, even if you don't outwardly say it, but you internalize this kind of like subconsciously you have that image, which a lot of people do. That can be a precursor to eating pathology, which is just unhealthy eating behaviors or just dieting, which people have engaged in. It's so common. And then from there, it leads to eating disorders. So the Body Project's a prevention program that tries to target body dissatisfaction at like its source almost, and decrease that. And the way it does it is basically a peer-led program, which actually peer-led is just as effective as like actual researchers and clinicians. That's why, and people tend to like it more. Basically, it challenges the beliefs you hold about the thin ideal.